love your hair.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It's brown again.
Okay, because this thing on Snapchat, it looks a little bit more blonde. But now that I'm seeing it,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
darker.
It's faded already since I dyed it because I washed it one too many times too quickly. And I have like 2 more of the things to dye it. So I'm just going to re-dye it. I haven't washed my hair in like a week though because now I'm scared to wash my hair.
Me.
When I first dyed it though, it was like kind of red. Like it kind of looked like auburn, but like it kind of looked good. Like I was surprised. Like I think auburn looks great on some people, but I didn't think it would look good on me.
I mean, I even think I could do a copper.
Apparently. It suited my skin tone. It kind of looked natural. I was like, hey, I'll take it. It looked cute, so.
See, I just dye it black. So like you can't really dye black.
It's
you can't
hard.
really fade black. So
Yeah.
you can just wash it same day, you know?
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's gonna get on your pillows and your pillow sheet and your bed sheets and stuffed animals and clothes and car.
See, I am surprised. I have yet to get this dye on anything. And I think it's because I've been really anal about it. I used Manic Panic, which I'd used. This is like one of their only natural hair colors is like their browns. And that's probably why it had a little bit of red in it. Yeah, I've used their purple. When I did purple, I used Splat and then I used Manic Panic to retouch it later on. And I liked Manic Panic the best.
Manic Panic for me bleeds heavy.
Okay. Here's the thing. When I dyed my hair purple, it bled like crazy. Like my shower, it looked like a murder scene of a Smurf. Like it was actually terrifying. And I had to scrub my shower to get it to be like clean again, like multiple times. And it's still like I still am scared that I stained the walls, but I think I got most of it off. But with this one, I was I think because I've done it so many times by myself, I've kind of learned a couple tips and tricks. Like I rinsed it off with my head just upside down underneath just the lower faucet, which was very hard to rinse out my hair, but it really did help to get all of that like pigment out of my hair. Without going everywhere. And now I just make sure that my hair is dry before I go to bed so I don't get it on my pillowcases, because that's the other thing that I would get it on is my pillowcases.
See, my hair is so long that I tie it up to shower. I don't wear a shower cap because it gets too much humidity. And then if I have my hair straight, it like frizzes out really bad. Yeah. But the underside of my hair always gets wet. And the first time I ever dyed it black, I dyed it from what was it? I dyed it from blonde to black. I know.
Oh wow, that was a big one. I remember your blonde era. We both have had a blonde era. It didn't last very long, but we both have had a blonde era.
My dark hair. She's giving I don't know what, but something.
Yep.
And the first night I was in the shower and I showered off, feeling great, got all the hair clippings off, went to go lay down on a white satin pillowcase. Laid down, had a good sleep, good 12 hours, woke up, all the under part of my hair dye smeared off. Yeah. So I don't know, I personally only go to salons to get it dyed, and I think also because I have so much hair.
That is very fair. When my hair was like down to the bottom of my rib cage, that's when I went purple. And that was a lot. And like, when I went black, my sister did it. I went red. My sister also did that. I went like super dark red, like right when we first met around that time. I don't know if you remember that. It was my whole head. My whole head was like dark, like auburny red.
I remember ends.
It might have like washed out slightly. It might have. I was like 12, so it was like right when we met. So you might not have like seen it at that time because we weren't like super duper close. Which, speaking of, what a segue.
so
to
sorry.
today's topic. Well,
yeah. So today's episode is our bestie lore.
yes.
Basically, we kind of talked about it a little bit on an intro episode, I think.
Yeah, we did. Oh, very, very, very briefly.
Yeah, but kind of like how we met, our history together, just kind of how we know each other.
Yeah.
But welcome to She Knows It with Alex
and Izzie.
So yeah, we talked about hair dye. It's a girls day. We're feeling it.
We also did not talk much for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, so we're trying to get it out.
Yeah, she was out of town for like 2 weeks, and then I was out of town for a week, and so now we are trying to catch up.
Yeah, which I hope you enjoyed last week's episode.
Yeah.
I loved filming that episode.
Oh my god, that was so fun. It was a lot. If you guys have not watched that yet, the drama happens in that episode. Go check it out.
Also, the Baldwin Gate episode. Listen, we have a new one to add.
We do. We do.
Didn't know he existed. It was an accident. But you know what? Bad decisions sometimes have happy accidents.
They really.
And you know what? That could be.
Really do.
On who it is.
Yeah.
But anyways, we love a good Scottish man.
We do love a good Scottish accent.
Scottish or Irish?
I think it's Scottish, but I could totally be wrong.
I want to say it's Scottish. A little like twang.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. You would know better than I would.
Yeah. Because it doesn't sound Irish that much, but.
Yeah, but.
Could be wrong.
Anyways. We're going to be talking about the timeline of our bestie-ship. I don't know. Our friendship. Like, our, you know.
Ups and downs.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. If you have a bestie, this is like the perfect episode to watch with them. So grab a bestie.
Especially a long distance bestie.
Ugh,
if you
the worst.
have those, then this would be definitely a good episode to kind of like talk over. Maybe you guys had similar experiences. I would love to know like if you guys went through the same things as us. But our friendship is about what, 8 years long?
Yeah, we met when we were like 12. And we are now 20 and almost 21. So it's been quite the journey together. We first met through my gaming channel, through us both having the mutual interests that I showed on my gaming channel. And we just became fast friends after we met. Like,
it was like clicking.
It was a clicking, and it was so fun. I think about like 12, 13, 14-year-old us sometimes, and like we were obsessed with one another. Like it was a little unhealthy. But it was so fun. It was so fun.
It was so much, because also at that time is like, you know, a lot of just like life things are happening. Because you know, like you're going out of your preteens into teens, and like, you know, school, social, like hormonal, like everything's really changing. So when we met each other, I think it was just, you know, we had a buddy to kind of go through those life phases with. And we never really looked back after that. Like, I feel like every friendship has ups and downs, and we've had our fair share. But I think since we were so young meeting each other, and we had all that time together, it kind of built a foundation for us to have those hard topics and like talk about them, and then like have those rough spots, and then kind of come back together and move forward.
We've definitely learned a lot through our friendship, and I think that we've gotten a lot stronger as individuals as well as friends for it.
Almost.
It was a lot of like blind like positivity and like sunshines and rainbows, I think, when we first started being friends. Like, oh, nothing can go wrong here. And then we didn't have that level of like being able to communicate the bad. And so it led to a little bit of like miscommunication, I feel like, over the time.
Mm.
But it was so little at that period that it was like not that big of a deal. It was just like, well, we're like 13 and we're just best friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? You know, it's like you don't really care about that kind of stuff as much when you're that age as you do when you get older into your older teen years and then your early adult years. But that was probably like that's the time period that when I think of like our friendship, I think of like us right now, and then right after that I think of like us at like 13, because like that's like that was the
Those
era.
were fun times.
Yeah, we
We
would
were
call
doing
all day.
projects together, like calling all day, texting all day, FaceTiming. Like,
Yeah,
we would spend from sun up to sundown
literally
talking.
we practically lived together but on the
Yeah,
phone. Like we would
yeah,
wake up, we would like go for a walk, we would go eat breakfast all while on the phone together, we would then
yeah,
play video games, we would like do schoolwork while on the phone together, we
yeah.
would go to dance. That'd be like their one time that we weren't together because we both did
Yeah, we were
dance. We
calling.
would be like, okay,
We would,
gotta go to dance practice, be right back. And
and then
then
like when we got home, we would call again, and then
yeah,
like more or like just do something together, right?
yeah,
Like we were writing all the
we would
time,
write
like we were at school
all the time
together.
together. All the time together. We've always done stuff together. We've always done projects together, which is what, but we've all, okay, here's the thing though. We've never done one publicly with both of our names on it that is like
Yeah.
equally both of ours
hmm It's
until
like
now.
we've always been ghostwriters for
We
each
have.
other.
Like we've always been ghostwriters for each other.
And like gaming channel, it's like some episodes like I'm like, oh my gosh, I helped with that. I
Yeah.
helped with that. And it's just like it's so much fun to also be able to look back on videos. Like some are public, some
Yeah.
are private. Like on my very, very first gaming channel, which I think you remember it,
Mm-hmm.
my very first one.
Yeah.
I went back and I saw videos like our very first time like actually publicly hanging out,
Yes. Oh my
and
God.
there's so much the energy of our friendship was so much fun.
And we'd always say
And
we need to post. Like anytime we'd like hang out, we'd always be like, we need to record this and post this. We're so
yeah,
funny. And now we're
now we're
recording
doing
it and
it.
posting it.
But no, it's just like, it's kind of cool because our friendship is, for better or for worse, documented online in
It is.
segments.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to be able to look back and like be like,
It
oh, I remember at what
is.
point our friendship was when this was made, or
Yeah.
I remember like this is a really good memory, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like a lot of friendships when they're really, I won't say immature, but for lack of a better word, immature
Mm-hmm.
friendships don't last when people start to mature.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people mature separately, like
Mm-hmm.
they could be maturing like immaturity, like they're going
Mm-hmm.
on the same like path and they're running parallel, but as you start maturing, you're going to
Yeah.
mature differently. It's very rarely that you're going to be able to come back and find a medium and common ground again to be like, okay, you know what, we can still be friends because we're still similar enough that we like each other.
Yeah.
um and that's the same thing for like relationships just across the
Yeah,
board,
for
whether that's
sure.
friends or romantic. But it's really special when you have a friend that's from childhood to
Mm-hmm.
adulthood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you could weather the
It's
teen
rare.
years,
Yeah.
it,
I feel like
it,
there are a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, they've been my best friend since blah blah blah. But then the moment that they graduate high school is like the
Mhm.
test. That I feel like is a
Yeah.
test for a lot of people. For us, I think it was around that same time basically that we kind of went through our little bit of a we didn't talk as much.
I think it was like end of 16, 17.
That was when it started. I think we like weaned off of each other slightly after being on such a high of always talking till like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Then I got together with my boyfriend at 15, so that definitely played a part in it.
Yeah.
And
And I
then
think also what happened was when I went overseas, I was dancing and I was
True.
gone for
That was
like
hard on our
3 months.
friendship. That was,
It was because I mean I was in a completely different time zone. I
yeah.
didn't really call anyone, and even if I did, I was calling my parents and like talking to
Yeah.
them.
We
But
called, I think, once a week at that point, which to go from like every single day. Because even when I got together with Gabe, we would still try to call multiple times a week, even if it
yeah,
was just for a little bit, or we'd Snapchat each other all the time still, so that we
it
still
was
had
just like
that little
long,
bit.
like voice notes. Voice notes was
Oh,
a
yeah.
big
Yeah.
like podcast level, like 20 minutes
Yeah.
voice notes. But definitely, I think around that time, maybe it was after I came back. So it was like during and kind of after,
Mm-hmm.
but our friendship took a little bit of a
It did.
pause.
Yeah. And there was a
And
lot happening in both of our lives as well. And so that also
yeah,
contributed. It definitely wasn't just like we were like, I'm going to stop talking to her. It was very like circumstance made it happen. And
and it
then,
was very much
yeah.
like, you know, life, because that's the thing, when life gets a hold of you, life has a life of its own. Like it's going to do what it wants, and you better buckle up and get ready because if you don't if you don't make it happen, it's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're just gonna be like, oh, it'll naturally happen, like it'll naturally do that. A lot of times, especially when you get busy and life starts happening, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, next month, the month
Yeah.
after that,
You
the
really have
year
to
after.
like you have to juggle sometimes
Yeah.
with your relationships especially. And
And it's harder
it's
because we're long distance,
it
like states.
is. Yeah.
So it's not like we can drive to go see
Yeah.
each other as frequently because it's
Mhm.
like days
Yeah.
to drive.
It takes me like I've done a road trip
Hmm.
before that I ended up visiting you during the road trip and you
Hmm.
were like my third stop
Yeah.
and I had been already driving for like 20 hours total.
Yeah.
So it's like we're definitely not close. We are pretty far apart.
Yeah.
Thankfully we're not overseas from one another, but we are still pretty far away from one another. Thankfully, like we can fly and see each other occasionally. Like when we first met in person, we were 16, and I think that
Yeah.
spiked our friendship back up a little bit during that
It
period.
did.
I think
And
we
then
like had another high at 16 of just like a
yeah.
different type of friendship, and then it
It
dipped
was
back down.
it was the point where like because we were at that point both maturing and striving
Mm-hmm.
for that maturity.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a lot of things. A lot of times people at 16, 17 think they are incredibly grown and they figured out everything. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that in a demeaning way because I was the exact
No,
same way,
and you
but
there are some teenagers where they know a
they do
lot.
have
They know a lot. And like I
yeah.
think we knew a lot for 16, but I think that just
Yeah.
added more stress to us rather than making it where we could handle more.
Hmm.
Sadly.
And it's like once you get older and your brain just matures. It's not so much you learn anything new,
Literally
it's
your
just
brain's developing.
your brain just like another little puzzle piece slots in. It really it changed your perspective on a lot of things. And we'll talk about that like with
Yeah.
second puberty, especially in women. Um,
Yes. We're going through it right now,
but
baby.
just combining everything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But our friendship, I think at 16, it was like immature friendship from like first meeting to about 15, 16. It was like we were both striving to be an adult at that
We were
point.
really,
Not
yeah.
just like a young adult, like we wanted to be an adult
We
at that
wanted,
point.
yeah. Which I think there was also an expectation with us that we set upon ourselves. Because when we were 13, we would talk all the time about living together in a big city at 16
Out
together.
and
We
like
were like, we're going to move out together. We're going to be roommates. We're going to live
um,
together at 16. We're going to like do all these things.
yeah,
And it just didn't end up working out that way. No
no.
fault to either of us. It just like that wasn't
Mhm.
realistic to what was happening in those moments. Also, like
Yeah,
neither of us wanted to leave our families behind at 16. Like we actually like we
no.
just like it would be one of us sacrificing our families for the other, and so it didn't really make sense in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
things. Um there's part of me that's like, what would have happened if we would have lived together at 16? Like, would we have still had,
I
like, I'm worried we would have had the lull we still had at 17, 18,
I think
and then
we
we
would have.
wouldn't have recovered from it.
I think we would have, because the lull in our friendship was really our like soul searching. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
listening, I just did air quotes, so I'm
Yeah.
not actually being like
They're
soul searching
soul
here.
searching.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm not that girly. Um, but no, definitely. I think that lull was needed because we
Mm-hmm.
needed to have that moment of separation from one
Yeah.
another because we were so close and
Yeah.
we were almost developing into the same person, as scary as that
And
is.
because of how similar we were for so many years, I feel like our lull also happened because the little differences between one another would become magnified because we were the
Yeah.
same person for so long. We were
Hmm.
so similar. Like, our goals were the same, our career goals were the same, our love lives were the same before
Hmm.
Gabe came to the equation. And so, like, we were
Yeah.
like so similar for so long. We both did dance, we both did this, we both did that. And like, we were best friends and we talked all the time. And then when we started having little differences and little differences, rather than being like, okay, that's a difference that we have, cool, you can tell me about it because I don't know what that's like, which is kind of how we are
Yeah.
now. It was
Hmm.
like, oh, we're not the same anymore. It was like a little
Yeah.
jarring. Like, it was like, oh, we've been the same for so long. What is this friendship going to look like now that we're not identical to one another, you know?
And that also brought up a lot of like fears,
Mm-hmm.
because, and this is especially for any of the girlies listening,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you have a high school friend, in high school you guys are doing something. You guys have a commonality of something, like high school, right? That is such a huge part of your life
Mm-hmm.
that when you graduate, that isn't a commonality anymore. And since
Yeah.
high school for a lot of people, that is their identity for 4 years or longer, depending. Um, but for 4 years, that is their identity.
Yeah.
And with us, our identities were very, very intertwined with one another
Mm-hmm.
and what we did,
Yeah.
like our gaming channels. And
Mm-hmm.
as we got older and differences came up, it was like we didn't have that commonality. And it was almost like we didn't feel like we could connect with one another as much.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to, I guess, almost like, and I'm speaking from like my end,
Mm-hmm.
it was almost like I didn't want to try to like reconnect in a
Mm-hmm.
way because I didn't want to ruin old memories, because I was like, okay, what if we
That
become
was
friends again?
such a big fear of mine as well. I'm so glad you said that because I thought that was a one-way thing as well on my end. I had such a fear of tainting the good memories we had because we have
Mhm.
so many good memories. And I was so scared
Yeah.
that we would, because it was so much of a fizzle out rather than like
Mhm.
a big thing happening, a big fight, and then we stopped talking entirely. It was like fizzle,
It
little,
was a very
little but headbutts
gradual.
occasionally, but it was just like gradual, like us just not talking as much with one another. And I
Yeah.
was so worried about rekindling that friendship and then there being a fight and then
Yeah.
ruining everything that had happened before. But no,
Yeah.
we ended up rekindling. I'd say it was, I was 19, you were 20. It was
Mhm.
like a couple months before my 20th, I think.
It was like last year, and I think when
Yeah.
it was like August,
Yeah, so yeah, it was a
August,
couple months
September.
before my 20th birthday. So I was 19, you had just turned 20.
Mhm.
And we we made we
Bullet
made
points like
PowerPoint
that.
presentations for
Yeah.
one another because first of all we sent each other memos.
Yeah.
I just merged messages and memos
And
into
like
one
also,
word.
like, we would occasionally like text each other and
Yeah,
like, just
but we'd go
interact here and
months
there.
without talking, which was very strange for us.
Yeah. There was a point where it was almost I think the longest we went was like almost 7 months without talking.
Yeah, which a lot happened in
Almost
that 7 months for both of us. And so it was really weird that
because
we were basically
I'm
like
like
brand new people when we rekindled our
yeah,
friendship.
because it was like the last time I saw you was when you were turning 18.
Yeah, my 18th birthday was the last time we had seen
Yeah.
each other in person. And that was
And
like the
then
last, like, one of the last times we like were close, I feel like,
yeah,
before
because after that I kind of
it fully went into like the,
yeah,
okay, we don't really talk
we're not the
anymore.
same place
Yeah.
anymore. And then around that time was also like a lot of on my end figuring out what I wanted to do
Yeah.
because I
You changed a
didn't want to
lot.
do gaming anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something different. I
And
wanted to go to
I
college.
love who you are right now, by the way. Like, I know we
I love
talk
how
about,
you are
I know,
too.
yeah, I know we talk about like, oh, the good old days of like when we were like the same
Yeah.
person. But it's like, I love that you're different from me, and I love that I'm different from you because it makes it where
Yeah.
we can talk about things that are unique to
And
one
have things
another.
like this where we
Yeah.
can different people can relate to different sides and like
Yeah. No,
it's
we're still very similar, but
we have a lot of quirks.
yeah,
But I think
we,
it just comes from us basically growing up together. A lot
yeah,
of our
we're soul sisters.
little minute things
Mm-hmm.
are still going to be the same,
Yeah.
but as far as like core people, we are different now.
Yeah.
And that's it took a lot to get here. But yeah, I would say when we got close again was August, September
Yeah, I think
of
so.
last year. And
We
then we had the PowerPoint presentation, I think in November.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. We
Yeah.
had we started, I think it was, I reached out first. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was I reached out saying like, "Hey, like I
Mhm.
miss you. I want to know what's going on in your life." And then you really took the reins and were like, "Okay, let's call.
Yeah.
Let's catch up. I
Like,
miss you
let's
too."
call, you know
Like,
what's happening.
yeah,
Like,
I put out like the like, "Hey," like put my toes in the water, and then you were like jump into the deep end. Like, yes, let's hang out again. And I was so happy to be met with that energy because I was so scared you were gonna be like,
yeah.
yeah, like I might be free in like five
Yeah,
months
no.
you know
And,
like I thought it would be one of those.
and see, it's like that's the thing because when you did reach out, I was already like very secure in myself. Because that's also another thing is like our friendship was my security blanket for a lot of insecurities I had.
We were so codependent on one another. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of scary. Like, as I said, like I think I said this earlier, like in the same episode,
We're
but
rambling at this point.
we were so like intertwined with one another
Hmm.
that we were kind of like we were so attached to one another that it was a little unhealthy. And we were so similar that it was a little unhealthy. And
Yeah.
so I think us we kind of needed that break to become individuals, because now we're individuals and best friends rather than
Hmm.
best friends. And that's all we are, you know. There was a while where it I didn't know who I was without you as my best friend.
Hmm.
And it was an adjustment to be Izzie, you know, just Izzie.
Yeah.
And it really was like a breakup. Like, it
Yeah, no,
really
it
was
it
like a
definitely
breakup.
was it was a breakup because we basically were in each other's lives like a boyfriend would be.
Yeah.
And we shared everything.
You were
And
my
we,
first love. You
yeah,
were my first love.
literally. And it's like we went to each other with everything, every problem, every minute stress in our life.
Yeah.
And so when that was ripped away from us, we were kind of left without that outlet as well. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what really kind of was the driver in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different situations. But no, when we met, like rekindled everything, I was already very sound in who I was. I had a lot of experiences, you know a lot about them.
I think we
And
needed to go through that 7 months like without talking,
yeah,
because I think we needed no contact for a hot
yeah,
second because we had lessons we needed to learn without each other as crutches. And I say that from my personal experience as well. Like,
Yeah.
we
No,
needed
I
that.
completely agree.
Yeah.
And then when you reached out, I was already like in college. I was doing my classes and I was like, I was on my shit and I was like, I can filter people back in because there was a
Mm-hmm.
point where when I finally realized who I was and like I'm like, okay, you know what? I have a lot of codependencies going on. Like I'm just gonna cold turkey cut it off and then build confidence for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I realized also, side note, big sister here or little sister, depending on age, but
Advice
advice.
time.
Advice time. I know it's hard, but don't get confidence from anything else besides yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get confidence from makeup, hair, clothes. Get confidence from yourself because
Mm-hmm.
there does come a time where all that does get stripped away from you. And it's a lot better to still have that life raft of yourself than be out in the middle of the ocean with nothing.
Yeah. Who are you without your
And
belongings? Who are you without your friends? Who are you without your, outward appearance? Who are you
mhm,
inside by yourself is important to
yeah,
know.
and it's a hard lesson to learn, especially
And
if
we're
you are
very
very
young to try to learn it, to be fair. There are
oh,
some people who die without learning this lesson. So,
there's a lot of adults that
yeah.
I know that need to learn it. But
Same. Same. Bless you.
bless.
That's the cutest goddamn sneeze.
Anyways, but yeah, so I think when we met was a perfect time. And as I said,
Mm,
I was super receptive to you because I wanted our friendship. It's just I want it to be the right time. But again, as I said, a lot of times that right time never happens.
mm,
So you kind of have to force fate a little bit.
mm.
That's what I did with my boyfriend, and how things worked out. Don't take that as advice, please. Do not force boyfriends. Let them
Yeah.
come to you naturally.
Yeah,
Naturally,
no.
I can be the best
I,
friend.
yeah, I set them up. I set them up. I went, hey, y'all want to play video games? Oh, can my friend
Yeah. And I was the friend, and then he fell in love at first sight. Anyways,
join? Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, back to first loves with my bestie. Yeah, the PowerPoint definitely was very. It connected us because
yeah.
you announced that you were engaged,
Yes.
and
That was, I think, a
I,
big moment for us moving forward.
yeah, because I like Ali said, like when we were younger, we talked about everything. We talked about moving
Yeah.
in together. We talked about like marriages, like having bestie marriages, getting married at the same time. Like we talked
Yeah.
about all of that, but it was always conjoined.
Yeah.
And I think with you, when you were announcing that, I was just so incredibly happy for you and just proud of you because like as I said, like I knew Gabe and like I knew Jamie's like since we were like really little, like not little, but
We're
15.
young. Yeah.
Yeah. And to see them making that like step forward in the relationship
Mm.
and everything was just so special. And for her to include me in that, I felt very, I think, almost connected again to you
Yeah.
because I was like, okay, you're letting me into your life like this. Like, I'm super thankful. I'm grateful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like my best friend. Like, I've never stopped thinking of you as my best friend,
Yeah,
even when we didn't
same.
talk.
Literally, it had been 7 months, and in my head, I was like, "Best friend, you are my best friend," and I think that
I was
that's
so
something that
close.
you'll always hold, no matter how long we go without talking. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes, like, you'll especially learn this when you get older because life happens, but sometimes your best friends aren't the people you talk to every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like that once a month bestie that you're like, hey, I want to call and catch up. Like,
Yeah.
are you free? Like, you want to go get drinks? Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that is your best friend, and it's not the people you surround yourself on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really hard lesson because we wanted to spend every moment together.
We
Now,
did.
we do current present day have Baldur's Gate Mondays and Thursdays of filming. So
yes,
we do kind of see each other regularly. But there was a point where we didn't. And even when we were rekindling it in November and onwards till today, we kind of, I guess, eased our way back into it.
We did.
We
yeah.
didn't immediately,
we had like a brief period where we would voice message every day. We would voice message like, good morning, like, hope you're having a good morning, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we would, good morning, sunshine. like every morning we would have that little moment. But I don't think it was like, it wasn't as much of like a, I need to talk to you. It was more of like a, hey, what's going on with your day? Like, what's your plan for the day? Like, I missed you for 7 months. I need to like make up for that time. You know?
Yeah.
And I think we did that. And now we're more like, we talk the days we film and we play video games. And then I'd say we text every couple days. We don't like, we're not like voice memo every single day, like FaceTime every single day.
We do Instagram reel each other every day.
We do. We send each other the funniest videos all day, every day.
Hot. Or honestly, cars. We were talking about that earlier. Like, really cool cars.
Yeah, I've been really into vintage Ford Broncos.
I'm into my pretty girl era Mini Cooper.
Yeah, sure. I literally was. I saw a Mini Cooper on the road, and I was like, I literally said to Gabe, I was like, oh, that's Christina's dream car. Like, unprovoked, I was just like, that's Christina's dream car. And he was like, cool. Good to know.
Like, here's my thing, right? I'm not the friend that people are like, oh, Christina can drive us.
No, you're the passenger princess.
Passenger princess? Or I'm like, I can drive you, but you're going to get my really uncomfortable small back seat, so you never ask to go again.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, I'm not a chauffeur. What's the person that gets chauffeured around? Do they have a name?
Rich person? Chauffeury. Chauffeury. Sounds like
the person getting. I mean, I always smell good, so
hey, make the whole car smell good. That's what chauffeury does.
Also, side note, Sabrina Carpenter's perfumes smell so yummy.
Really? I haven't smelled them.
I got the it's like the Big Tan chocolate bar.
Oh, fun.
It's like the older sister.
I love the aesthetic. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute. It looks so cute on like nightstands and stuff. It's very nice.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Those friends love it.
So, to really quickly, we can ramble for a little bit more if we want to, but to really quickly finish up the timeline of the bestie lore. So we were 11, 12 when we met. We talked like every single day till we were like 13, 14. We had a little bit of a dip at, well, actually no, we got really, really close again at 16. A little bit of a dip at 15, but not major. Just like we didn't talk for a little bit because I got a boyfriend, and that happens when you started dating your boy. There was like 3 weeks where I was like, I expect her to only talk to him.
We still had our Baldur's Gate days.
We still had our Baldur's Gate days, I will say, and I appreciate that.
We still had our Baldur's Gate days, yeah. And that was also because my boyfriend, he is older than me, and I'm a very attachy person. I love attaching myself to things. So I'm like a barnacle. I never go away.
I'm like a barnacle.
But he is one for healthy relationships. So he's like, you go do your thing, go hang out with your friend. As long as you're good, go hang with your friend. I'm chilling.
Which is so nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you get to hang out with me.
And then, just like afterwards, I would call him, we would hang out, watch a movie, and then be good. But no, it definitely, relationships put tolls on friendships. I will say that.
And so we had a little bit, and I was young on top of it, so like I definitely like could have handled it better and like made more time for you, and I completely see that and wish I would have, but
you were 15.
Yeah. It was my first like,
it's your first serious.
My first serious relationship. So
that happens because love is the second most intense emotion besides hate.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in love with somebody, you aren't thinking of anything but
Yeah.
really how to be with that person or
Yeah.
talk to them or just, spend time with them. So,
Exactly. But yeah, we had a little bit of like a dip at 15. We got really close
mhm.
again at 16 when we met in person for the first
Yeah.
time. You stayed at my house for a couple weeks. We went to the beach. We did like pool days. Like we had like such a hot
Yeah.
girl summer when we were 16. It was like such a
Yeah.
fun summer. Um,
We had melted like bag cheese Doritos watching
yes.
Markiplier at like
Yes.
4 in the morning.
Yes. Oh my god. And virgin pina colada popsicles in my car on the
Oh
way home
yeah.
from the beach.
Yeah.
We choreographed dances because
Yep.
we hadn't danced in a long time. We were like, I miss dancing. Let's choreograph a
Yeah.
dance. It was just a fun time. And we'd like eat pineapple in our
Awesome.
bathing suits, like on the floor of my bedroom, like after coming back
Yeah.
from the pool. Like we were just like,
Yeah.
it was such a like teenage girl summer. And I never thought I would get that because you lived so far away. And I'm so glad we got that. Like,
It
uh,
was very much needed.
it was needed. It kind of
'Cause-
healed like our 13-year-old selves that couldn't see each other. I feel like a
Yeah.
little bit. So,
It
but
was
it,
I
yeah,
that was also one of like the highlights I think of is like 16
yeah,
together.
yeah, that was really fun. And then 17, 18 started to kind of dwindle. And then
Hmm.
after 18, we really didn't talk much. And then 19, 20, we rekindled. And now here we are.
I feel like 19 we did not talk. We maybe talked a handful of times a whole
Yeah. I
year.
mean, I was 19 when we rekindled,
Hmm.
but I was barely
It's like
19.
the
I was
year,
like, yeah.
yeah. It's like the year I turned 19 was kind of when we.
Yeah, the year you turned 19, it was pretty like
Yeah, we
sparse.
maybe talked a handful of times, like
Yeah.
birthday. It was like, well, happy
Mhm.
birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthdays. We
And
always
then,
send happy birthday to one another. And like
yeah,
normally still at midnight. Like we'd always do it at like midnight for the other person because of the time
yeah,
difference. We'd always text the other person at midnight, happy birthday. Like we would still do little things to be like, hey, I still care about you. And I think that was the
yeah.
thing
We
of like,
would do,
even if we never talked again, I still would always have cared about you. And I still will always care about you, you know? So,
yeah.
ah,
And we did the same thing for like Christmas, like, oh, Merry Christmas. And
yeah.
like,
All the
we did like
holidays.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
But
never been like we've never had like a stark like we did not talk at all,
mhm.
even if it
And I
was our
think that's,
birthday or Christmas or
yeah,
Thanksgiving or whatever
I
it
think
may
that's also
be.
because a lot of times when those like we're not talking at all friendship breakups happen, or I guess friendship fizzles happen,
Hmm.
is because there was animosity
There was
between,
toxicity some way, shape, or
yeah,
form.
there was some like wrongdoing a
Like
lot of
I
the
went no
times.
contact with one of my childhood best friends. You've been through all of that. And
Yeah.
we went no contact when I was 15, and it was because of toxicity on both of our
Mhm.
parts, but mainly me feeling not good enough and like embarrassed of who I am and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so it felt nice to still have, you during all of that time period, and like for us to still be close at 20 when we
Mhm.
met at 12 is wild. And like
Yeah.
I'm really proud of
Because I
us.
mean,
Like,
we're completely different people now, and we're on completely separate paths, completely
yeah.
separate jobs, completely
Hmm.
separate, just everything.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're still able to be friends,
Hmm.
because I think a lot of our friendship back then was also dependent on working together,
Hmm.
whereas now we can just call and be like, "Hey, you want to play The Sims? I'll
Yeah.
live stream it.
Yeah.
Play The Sims. Oh, you want to play Baldur's Gate today? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We just want to talk and like
Yeah.
maybe watch For the Love of Dilfs. Who knows?
Yes. Or MILF
Who
Manor, For the
knows?
Love of Delphs. Like, did you see
God.
the new season of MILF Manor came out? And it's not sons anymore, it's their dads.
And I want to watch it so badly.
I know.
I want to watch it, but I don't know what it's streaming on.
I don't know what to stream on either. We need to figure that out. You got for the Love
Yeah.
of Dilf subscription. I'll get this one, so that way
Okay.
we stay even.
Yeah.
You know?
Girl, 'cause I don't know. I think it'll be messy, but I think it's gonna be good messy this time.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good messy. Because with the Sun one, that one was it was borderline. It was borderline.
Borderline. But now I'm curious. I'm like, how borderline is sons and their fathers gonna be?
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
The fathers are like fine. Like the fathers would be normal dating pool, and the sons, I'm like,
who's gonna pick? I mean, this may just be me. Who's gonna pick the son over the dad? Like,
especially that one woman. I forget her name, but she has like that little accent to her.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And she's wanting that bedroom experience. She wants that bedroom experience. So I feel like she would go with an older man, maybe who's been around the block a couple times. Nothing wrong with being
that one that's into BDSM.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Why should you go with someone younger? Now, granted, the younger generation has kind of been on the internet a little too much when it comes to that.
That's fair.
So they know more.
But all of those look like innocent boys. I'm like, you don't know shit.
There is that one that I saw a little preview. I think it was Film Cooper.
I watched Film Cooper's video. That's how I know all this.
He's like kind of into it. That one young guy, you know.
Oh.
That one young guy. Y'all, this mic is a little old.
It's as old as our friendship. It's as old as our friendship. Literally.
So she's hanging on for dear life. I'll update it soon. Don't worry. But
she had the podcast, so she could buy a new microphone.
It's an investment. But no, I feel like they would go for the older guy.
I think so too. But
the ones who want the bedroom.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do an episode on that, like talking about
commentary episode. Oh my god, wait, we should do that. Wait, that'd be so fun. And it can be like a more edited episode rather than it being just a kind of video essay style.
Mm-hmm.
And we could still make sure that audio is still fine for audio listeners. Which, by the way, if you did not know, we're on like almost every podcasting platform. Apple Podcasts is finicky though. We're also on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. At sheknowsit pod. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify because that's what I use.
Yes,
so
please.
I'm pretty sure your boyfriend rated us on Spotify because
you know he listened to one of them and he told me he did, and he was just like, you talk a lot. I'm like, wow.
We're yappers, professional yappers. Actually, that's what when people ask what our career is, if this takes off, professional yappers.
Yeah, I wake up in the middle of the night to talk to him. Like, I'm like, you can't sleep. I want to hang out with you. Please wake up.
Actually, wakey wakey.
But like, wake up, please.
Yeah,
I want to talk.
Actually, I need to yap now.
It's like I just had this idea, this vision. I need to say.
Okay, so if you guys want us to do like a full episode on like how to handle relationship, like friendship breakups / like quiet periods in friendships and stuff, let us know. What would be one piece of advice you would give the besties out there listening to this podcast with their bestie?
Be understanding of one another, even if you might not see their perspective at the point
that's so sweet. That's a really good piece of advice.
Because if you guys truly care about one another, then just be understanding and hear them out. Because you aren't supposed to understand everything. And I think that was something I wish my younger self would have known too.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to know everything.
Same.
So
that's a good one.
What about
That's
you?
a good one. I would probably say something that I think caused a lot of, at least my end, of the break in our relationship briefly. Don't try your best not to put too many expectations on the long term of your friendship.
Enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment. Just enjoy them being your friend, regardless of what shape that takes over time. because when you truly love a person for who they are rather than the idea of them and the idea of being their friend and like being roommates one day or doing this thing one day or, you know, having the same career as them long term, when you are able to take that away and you're just like, well, I don't care what we're doing as long as they're my friend, I'm happy. That I think makes a lot of difference in a friendship lasting. And so that probably would be my advice. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's good
I agree with yours as well. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Make sure to yeah, honestly. And if you guys have any like of your personal experiences with friendships, I would love to know.
Yes.
Maybe you
let
guys
us know
have
how long you and your bestie have been friends, whether it's been a month or your entire life, whatever it may be. Yeah. Let us know.
Or like a group.
Yeah.
Because see, I don't have like a friend group.
Neither do I. The closest thing I have is our boyfriends and us. That's the closest thing I have to a friend group. Literally.
Yeah.
Which, it's fun. So.
It is fun. Yeah. It's a little much sometimes, but it's fun.
Everyone's favorite foursome. That's us playing Lethal Company and watching For the Love of Dolls together.
For the Love of Dolls is so underrated. If you guys want to see it.
Season 2.
If you guys want to see it, it's on... It's
Out TV? I think so.
Out TV?
Yeah.
It's Out TV.
It's an LGBT subscription service.
Yeah. And it has some wild shows on there.
Yeah. For the Love of Dilfs, by the way, if you don't know, is himbos dating dilfs.
Yeah, it's himbos. Himbos.
Himbos. It's himbos
dating dilfs. Yeah. And it is I would say it's on par with MILF Manor season 1.
It is.
As far as
season 2 for Love of Dilfs is definitely better than season 1, by the way.
Yeah, Tony Cannoli, season 1 for Love of Dilfs, he was the character.
He was the main character. But he was only in a couple episodes.
That's why season 2 is better.
Yeah, that's why season 2 is better, because it has more characters like that are throughout the entire season.
Hazel.
We haven't watched the finale yet, girl.
There's like 2 episodes.
Yeah, we need to watch the final 2 episodes with the boys because we made them watch it too.
We just want them to be included.
We exactly. We're not meanies. We want everyone to feel included.
Also, because if we're talking about it, we yap to them. We want them to understand.
Exactly. If we're talking about Rico, we want to know that they know who Rico and Nigel are.
Exactly.
It's like, do you not know who the teddy bear is? Hazel, the Greek god Hazel himself.
You don't know who those people are. You don't know the twins.
You don't know Daniel and Derek.
Like, I don't.
You don't know.
I don't know if I can talk to you today.
Yeah, if you don't know, if you haven't watched For Love of Dilfs, guys, I highly recommend season 2. It's so good. But only for those 18 and up, please and thank you, because they show a lot in that show.
18 and up. All 18
Your
and up.
mic stand is asking for death. Your mic stand is like, please put me out of my misery.
Giving up at this point. And you know what? She had a good life.
She had a good life.
But yeah, 18 and up only because there is a lot of imaging.
If you're gonna do one thing when you turn 18, it's watch For the Love of Dilfs season 2.
Good. It's great.
It is.
Getting your license? No.
No.
Love of Dilfs.
For Love of Dilfs, actually.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's episode or listening. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do a little spiel about all of our social medias and podcast platforms.
Yes, exactly.
But we'll see each other. We'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week's episode.
See y'all next week. Bye.